Hi Jose, you want to answer my question before the game?
No, yes, before the game, no, because before the game is must be something quick, and now, yes, of course.
No, Jose, it's not a problem. It's just that I'm desperate to talk about Chris Sutton in maybe the post-match press conference. I know he's been pissing a lot of people off, but I'm willing to sign a contract with you, just to make sure that it's all and above board. If I sign, are you willing to sign the same contract to talk about Chris Sutton?
I sign below your words. Yep. I can say exactly what you told.
Oh, cheers, Jose. That's good. Yeah, I've got to rush off anyway to the press room because Henry Winter's showing all the other lads his grinder matches and he gets a bit tetchy if we don't see him. So, see you in a bit.
Result, but it was not possible. But in the second half, we start with the same control. I think even a very difficult opponent, right? They felt that the game was difficult for them, and I'm so pleased with the way we control the game.
Hi Jose, it's Adam Martin for Making the Grade TV. Were you expecting Chris Sutton to be such a complete bellend in his role as a pundit on BT Sport?
Yes, I was expecting that.
Okay, good to hear the thoughts there of Jose Mourinho there, just to confirm some some opinions about Chris Sutton, really, just to make sure that we're all above board in what we're saying. The last thing that we want to do is have a kind of liable action from Chris Sutton's quite vicious, really legal team. But I think we've quite
a vicious bloke, isn't he?
He's just a bit of a prat, isn't he? But I think we've batted that one off quite successfully. So, moving seamlessly on, we've been talking. Obviously, Chris Sutton is a pundit, and we'll come to them at some point in the future. And they're like easy targets. But I've got time for a lot of the pundits because I suppose they have played the game at a level of some kind. So they've got an opinion. They're making a bit of cash, and I mean, they either do that or you won't go and own a bar in Marbella, didn't you? If you're an ex-footballer, so I mean, it's one of the two options. So I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. But I am going to move on to journalists, which could take a bit of time to get through. Because what I've been doing is I consistently make the mistake of either listening to journalists on the radio. I try to avoid talk sport because my mental health can't take it. But what I do it every Sunday before I go and play football is I whack the old Sunday supplement on. Now I know I shouldn't, but every single time I have to put it on, and it makes me violently sick for the entire hour. You know what? And I watch the full hour. I watch every bit of it. So I know obviously you've had to see it as well. So I just want your opinions really on the sort of content of Sunday Supplement and those professionals. I did an air quote then, I'm not on camera, but those professionals that present it and give us our diet of what football should be.
Yeah, it's just a slimy, smarmy wank fest of usually about three or four of them round the table with a croissant in front of them and an orange juice, which they never drink or they never eat the croissant. And their opinion is the be all and end all, isn't it? They because they've got this inside knowledge, and the way they articulate themselves, it's just utter diarrhea, isn't it? It's just utter drivel what they talk. But they do it in such a way that it's a bit like crack, isn't it? Because you start watching it and then you can't believe how awful the whole thing is. But then you can't stop watching it because I'm the same whenever it's on. I get then totally glued to it because I literally can't believe how they're acting, what they're saying, and they're just awful opinions.
Yeah, it's a funny mix as well, isn't it? Because what they've done, obviously what you talk about the set is quite clever because they've done like the open brickwork with the urban kind of feel to it, round the coffee table, having a debate with a few papers spread around as well, which they've written themselves, so they're just self-publicising. What they've done though is they've cleverly put some like sort of high-end Oxbridge bellends who've graduated and then just fell into a paper job, bit of work experience, and they've just fallen into being like, I'm now the chief writer for the Times. They're like, fuck, what am I doing? They're like, it doesn't matter, just write what you want. And then you get like like a working class scumbag, like a big fat mess like Martin Samuels managed to just ease his way in, and they look to him to get kind of a reality check, don't they? They confirm with him what's going on in football, because obviously they just don't watch it. They just make it up.
He could be like the the grimier side of football that he's involved in, because he was brought up on the terraces of, I don't know who he supports, and I suppose they look to him for that sort of. He's the fans journalist, isn't he? I suppose That's what he'd think he is anyway.
Can you take him seriously, a man that weighs 25 stone and is telling professional footballers, professional athletes, which what they are now, how it should be done and how they can do it better?
No, he's a big fat bastard, isn't he? And he always has been as well. He's never decided to lose any of the weight. Yeah, telling professional athletes how to do it, what's right with football and what's wrong with football. And this is just the whole problem with the programme, because not one of them are ex-professionals. They're probably lean closer to having played rugby when they were younger than having played football. But as you say, that everything that's wrong with journeys, it's the whole group of them are just completely dreadful.
Yeah, like I say, they're abhorrent, but they must have an audience because people seem to buy into it. Like, I mean, I suppose people don't really buy papers now, do they? But they go online, don't they? They'll get on sort of social media with them. They'll read the Times online. But I think it's the way in which it's presented, and it's the way in which they talk to each other about subjects they've got no knowledge about. They don't know anything about it. But it's the way they reconfirm to me each other's really sort of tepid and just shallow opinions on what's happened the day before. It's always reactive. They never judge or they never predict something that's going to happen in the future, do they? Like, and we just looked at an episode before, and it's like, is Solskjaer good enough for Man United? It's like, well, you weren't saying that when he was winning the 7 or 8 in a row. He starts to lose, and then they go, right, we're getting right onto this now.
It's always negative. Everything they say is negative. It's always about this could happen, that could happen. Oh look, that's happened. That's bad. We need to pick that apart. And the constant name dropping. You know, I was speaking to Sir Alex, or I was speaking to Arson the other day. It's just like, oh, were ya? Fuck off. Like, what a load of fucking... Who cares that you were talking to them? Like, well, there must be people sitting at home gripped by it going, oh my God, I wonder what Sir Alex said. I wonder what he said about the state of Manchester United now. I wonder what he said. And they haven't... What kind of conversation did Sean Custis or fucking Sam Wallace... What conversation did they have, or did them go, all right, Sir Alex, what did you think of that? And then he just gone, oh, fuck off. He has though, hasn't he? That's all he's done. He's just gone, oh, fuck off, you smarmy twat. Because it's not like he ever had really a good relationship with the media, was it? And most managers haven't, have they? So they talk as if they're friends and they're pals, and they're not. They're not pals with them. They're not pals with anyone. The only people they're pals with are the other people around that table.
Yeah, that's the thing I find the most harsh. It's like I say, there's never a debate on it. The one will say something, they'll all nod, they'll all reference someone and go, oh, I'll tell you something, Martin Samuels wrote a fantastic piece in the Mail this Sunday. And they all like do this complimentary nod around the croissant-filled table. And it's like just absolutely pathetic. And then, like you say, it's either first names, or some of them even go for like nicknames. Like, yeah, I was speaking to Jags up at Everton training ground. And it's like, fucking shut up. Nobody cares. Why? Like you said, it's just your job is you've got to interact with these people at some point. But these football people must be like, get out of my face, you absolute prat.
But they do it on Twitter. So they will all write an article. So there'll be a football match. Something will happen. I don't know. United will have lost a game, or Chelsea will have lost another game, 2 on the trot. They'll all write the same article. All of them will all write this. There's nobody with a contradictory opinion. Nobody's got a different opinion. They all stick to the safe subject, and then they retweet each other's articles and go, oh God, he's wrote a great article. It's just the same as yours, you prat. Like. And then Martin Samuel will retweet Henry Winter's opinion on it. And they all just get on. It's like a big fucking gay fest. And it winds me up and makes me so angry. I'm struggling to articulate myself about how angry I am about it.
But would you be willing to like chop your own face up and kill yourself over it?
Yeah, I would. I'd be willing to just fucking live in a hole without food and water. Just until I died because of it.
Yeah, and I mean the thing is, like, because it is so abhorrent. Like Sam Wallace is the one I hate the most. He's the Richard Hammond of the groupies. He's seen as the younger, like quirkier one. He's a bit of a laugh. He's just a bloke in his 40s. He just needs to grow up, change your blue shirt that you wear every single episode, and get out of our lives. But they all seem to appreciate him. But like, if you had to pick some of the worst, I mean, I know who I would choose just because of the treatment of England, but who would you choose as the absolute ringleaders of this utter dross?
There's Sean Custis is bad. I think he's a Newcastle fan, but I think the worst is Oliver Holt. That guy is just like he's took it upon himself to. He's really pro everything that's going on at Man City, and he's really like anti-Man United. He actually supports Stockport. He does, I think, and the other fact is that he's Emily Bishop's son from Coronation Street. That's amazing. It's absolutely amazing, isn't it? I love that.
Well, actually, it's a little known thing, but you know all these broadsheet and tabloid journalists, sport journalists, every one of their parents is a long-running soap star from the UK across the Emmerdale, not Brookside now because that's gone, but there is still some, and in EastEnders, but none from Hollyoaks because that's seen as a bit too like 18 to 30s youth. They don't touch that. But yeah, like so, like this, you know, Alex Gilroy. Yeah. That's Henry Winter's dad.
Oh, is it? Oh, I didn't know that. I did know that Sean Custis is Jack Duckworth. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So, yeah.
That's how it works. You see, that's what you have to do. So if your parent has been part of, especially the soaps in the 80s when it was like a little bit more sexist and racist, if they've been part of that movement, you get a guaranteed spot at Broadsheet as one of the chief journalistic writers. Yeah, so those people out there, because we know people that are going to university, some of them even like football, bizarrely. They're the weirdest ones. They like football and still want to be a broadsheet journalist. But that's not what you do. Your parent has to be some div from one of these soaps. I say that, I love Coronation Street. From there, and that's how you do it.
Oh, God, well, that's lucky. But it's a shame for anyone who hasn't got a parent in a soap opera.
Them's the breaks. That's tough, innit? It's tough luck, you know what I mean?
Yeah, life's a bitch and then you die.
Yeah, so that's up to them. I mean,
you're talking about the England thing, I think, because Dan Rowan is the devil, isn't he? He's
I think he's head of BBC Sport now. He's like one of the main men.
Something like that. He's one of the most abhorrent human beings that's ever lived. And yeah, that the whole thing with England was just like ridiculous. But the thing with the England thing was when everybody turned against I knew England were going to do well in that tournament because suddenly everyone went pro England just because they hate the journalists so much for what they'd done when they revealed the team and this and that. And it really sort of sparked this kind of like about how irrelevant the journalists are, and everybody got onto them on Twitter. And they didn't know how to cope with it. And then they all joined forces to be like, can't believe. They all sort of started taking the piss out the fans. And that was the wrong thing to do as well. And they just made themselves look like complete idiots. And they kept doing it. And then the one said, there's a woman, I don't know what her name was. She said, we're not here to support England. We're not here to support England. We're here to, to write about what we see. And I was like, you are there to support them a little bit, aren't you? You should be there to support. Yeah, you should be there to support them. You should be trying to help them as much as they can. And it's an exclusive. Yeah. I couldn't believe what she said that day. And then they all just carried on, saying joining forces and mimicking the fans and taking the piss out of the fans. And it was just the wrong thing to do. And I think that did them a lot of damage. I think it did journalists a lot of damage. That will.
Yeah, I think that's the problem, isn't it? I think what's happened is with the birth of social media, because everyone's now got this like massive opinion, they've had to then become relevant in other areas, haven't they? So what they've got to do is they've got to get on social media, try to encapsulate the fans in some kind of negativity and get trending on, I've said this and now I'm relevant. But like you say, these are just a bunch of utter wallies. I don't believe any of them play football. I don't believe any of them have ever played football. I don't think they've got any kind of realisation of the difficulty that it is. It's just frigging hard, isn't it, football? Like, if you're a footballer at any level, even like semi-pro to professional, you are a very skilled person. So to get some div from the home counties telling you how to do it and where you've gone wrong, it's just an absolute liberty. It's an absolute liberty. And like I say, the England thing, when they threw them under the bus and took Lewington's team sheet and did that, and that was an absolute joke.
16, wasn't it? That was two. Yeah. Yeah.
Remember the last episode when you were an England savant? I don't know anything about it.
Yeah, 2016, and they did it again, didn't they? They did it again in 2018. They did exactly the same thing. I just don't see what they're gaining from that. I don't see what they're gaining from that. And there's no, like, the opposition sides aren't really going to gain from it, are they? They probably know what the lineup's going to be anyway. We don't really gain from that as fans. Only they gain from that. Like, this sort of like, oh, look what I've got. Yeah. Look what I've done. And they're like, oh, well done, Dan. Like, oh, I got it. I can't believe it. They need to be more careful with the team sheets. That's what they said, that they need to. They don't need to do anything. You shouldn't be there. Fuck off. Like, they're doing it wrong. Like, they shouldn't show the team sheet. So don't photograph it. If you don't want the world, if you think the world shouldn't know the team sheet, don't photograph it and put it in the fucking paper.
The thing is, well, it's not like they're photographing it from a couple of yards away, is it? They're taking it with like a telefocal lens from about 3.5 miles away, and he's got it under his arm. They go, can you believe he's been caught out with his bloody team sheet? Like, he's just walking across the pitch with it under his arm. He's thinking, I'll be all right.
Handing it out to all the other journalists, going, oh, God, they need to sort of keep that under wraps, don't they? Well, only you can see. I wasn't there at the training thing, was I? I wasn't there. You weren't there. All the England fans weren't there. We wouldn't have known about it if they hadn't fucking done it. Stupid fuckers.
Well, I tell you what, I think that's come. I've got to have a glass of water. I'm hyperventilating. That's come to a timely conclusion. Now, we could have gone on that for days, but we have got to wrap some of it up. But what I will say is, hold on, let me come back.
That's the biggest proper like rant I've had in the over the series. I've been quite like, oh yeah, but that was the first time I've been sort of a bit out of control.
It's only out of 10, wasn't it? Because usually you get a rant and you go to the back of the shop and smash it to fucking pieces. So I mean, it's not, you're still sat in the chair and you're not injured anyone or yourself, so it's no self-harm. Well, I'm not sure, but not too bad, is it? Right, what I will say is, those people, we've got tens of followers now, tens. And what I want to say to them is, if you've got a football opinion, stick to it. And if you come up against, I'm regularly bumping into Dan Rowan down the Tesco Express, and we have a debate. And what I'm saying is, stick to your fucking opinion. So all you got to do is, if you know something, stick to it. Because I tell you something, it's really easy, as you know, if you stick to it, people will soon bend, especially journalists, pundits, whatever. If you say something that's actually factual and right, eventually they'll just go, do you know what? Yeah, that is it. Because they're that used to just nodding their heads at whatever they hear. Yeah. They will go with it. So what I did is, it's a bit old, this footage, but last year, I don't know how I got on. I don't know what they were thinking of. But 606, 5 Live, did let me go on. It's quite funny because it's when the album were good. Do you remember that? When the album were good a few years ago?
No one liked it. When they were good, they were in the Premier League, and then all the fans were like really angry about it, and they hated everything about it. And now we're in the second division.
That's exactly it, yeah. That's exactly it. So when we were actually decent, I'd been up to watch the Albion, Everton away. We'd been bashed, we were rubbish. But I'll give them a bell anyway. we were shit back then, couldn't believe it. So I gave them a ring and they let me on. But what I want to use it as, it's about 5 or 6 minutes long, so people turn off if you get bored. But it does show that if you stick to an opinion and you say what you think, even these top journalists will actually just go, bloody hell, this guy's right, he knows what he's talking about. So we're going to come on to journalism again in future episodes, but thank you very much. We're going to wrap it up there. Do you know you had some abuse about your jeans as well? With some comments saying they're too tight?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, from somebody from Switzerland. I mean, what the fuck do they know?
Shows we're international, if nothing else to be. Right, this is Adam.
No man's land, innit?
The cross is a big plus. That's what they're saying. Right, this is Adam Martin for Making the Grade, episode 3, and we'll see you next time.
Let's go to Adam, who's a West Bromwich Albion fan. Hello, Adam.
Hello, Jason. How are you, mate?
Hello, my friend. How are you?
Good, thank you.
Come on, the Baggies.
I'm desperate to make 2 points. I'm desperate to talk about the Albion, and I'm also desperate to get on this Wenger trend as well, if possible. But I can mention the West Brom game.
Yeah, go for it.
Well, we were absolutely abhorrent there. We were so poor. We were so jaded. But I must say, I know that Twitter's going to explode after last week and this week, because we were poor against Palace. But I still think that West Brom have had an absolutely fabulous season. And I think that if it was Swansea, Bournemouth doing what we've done this year, I think there'd be more plaudits than there actually has been. I think the media have been a bit frugal, really, with the amount of praise that they've been willing to give Tony Pulis and West Brom, because I think we've absolutely overachieved. And I think the fact that we're 8th and challenging for, against a team of 7th, the money that Everton has spent and the size of club, I still think they've done really well. And I know there's going to be this big chat about, they're on the beach and they think they've done enough. But I think they've just worked so hard and they've defended so well all year that I think they're allowed to have a 2 to 3 week break where they don't exactly play brilliantly. And also when you played Romelu Lukaku, he's probably one of the best strikers in Europe at the minute, and he runs you over like he did today. Well, I think that's just a fair reflection of what can happen.
Yeah, I watched a bit of your game in the studio. Did you see much of it today, Robbie?
Well, I'm a big fan of Tony Pulis. Yeah. Huge fan. I think he gets unfairly criticised, and I think you're right, Adam. I think to be 8th, but just want to see West Brom kick on. Can you get? Just kick on
Robbie,
a little bit.
Robbie, you can't. Robbie, we've got to be realistic. Kick on to what? Because where are they going to be? The only chance they're going to be, Robbie, is going to be best of the rest, isn't it? They're not going to.
So you think the best of the rest is 8th now? So you think the best of the rest is 8th now?
Because I think now what's happened with the money and the way the team's amalgamated.
No, fair point. Yeah.
Top 6 now is huge. So you look above us, and I'm not thinking. Even when Everton had the wobble at the start of the year, they've still got an absolutely world-class manager, and they've still got one of the best strikers in Europe.
Yeah, fair point, Adam. Yeah, but 8th is the best of the rest of the season. Yeah, and if he can do that, I agree. Yeah,
kicking on is not the word. And also, I think that Albion should be looked at with the business model, the way we've performed over 10 years has been phenomenal. And also, Robbie, I've got to say this: we look at PSG in the week. The art of defending does not exist anymore. Especially within the top brands of football, it's all about attacking play, how many can you score? And I'll tell you something, a good West Brom, not today, but a good West Brom team would not have been rolled over 6-1 at the Nou Camp. And that's the difference. And I think that's something that's going to go full circle and come through coaching and back into football.
Fair point.
With the kids, it's just get the ball down, play. And, and then we rave about someone like John Stones. Why? And no offence to John Stones, a very talented boy. But is he a top defender? Is he as good as Gareth McCauley?
Oof, good question.
Robbie, in defending wise, is he as good as Gareth McCauley? If you were to have an out-and-out defender, who would you choose, Gareth McCauley or John Stones? Tell the truth.
It's a good question. When did you start watching football, Adam?
Can I ask the question? Did you get the answer?
No, just wondering when, Adam, in the context of the conversation, you'll realise it's a decent question. When did you start watching football, Adam?
1990 World Cup, probably the sort of the Great Milan team, and then sort of that
right.
That
okay.
sort of era.
So you had central defenders like Terry Butcher who just headed it clear and just hard defenders, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think it's just about. I think you need a natural blend, don't you? But I think we go so over the top now with some player who can run it 10 or 15 yards out from his own box. Well,
yeah.
That's fair enough. They can do that, but I think in all, like defending, the art of it will go full circle. I do think you are going to see.
Who would I rather have my team now? Gareth McCauley or John Stones?
Defender, Rob, as an out defender.
But defenders all different types of things now, isn't it?
I know what you want to say, Robbie.
No, it's just my honest opinion. I'm never scared of saying anything. But if I was picking a team now, I would have John Stones. McCauley's been brilliant, and he has been brilliant. But I would have John Stones.
Okay, well, I'll take that. And can I make another point?
Yeah, go on. Brilliant.
Get involved with the Wenger chat. Listen, I understand where people are with Wenger, because I tell you something, I'd like to see him go. I love him, think he's phenomenal, just to see where Arsenal go, because they're either going to accelerate or they're just going to go completely backwards, and everyone will be like melancholy about, we should have had Wenger back. But don't you think, Rob, and don't you think, Jason, that the bigger picture here is player power? Because players will have a month or 6 weeks off now where they don't quite fancy it, like Arsenal have done, because they're down tools against Bayern Munich. Just like Chelsea down tools last year, just like Leicester down tools this year. And the manager's right. Where is where is the focus back onto the players? Why is it the managers carrying the can each time? The managers are now the biggest commodity within football.
But you just said, Ab, you don't mind your players having 2 or 3 weeks off.
No, but what the difference is that I don't want Pulis out because of it, because that can naturally happen. But the thing is, the players will do that. And then it's the manager out. Because I tell you something, when Wenger does go, you won't see that again, because now Ferguson's gone. You won't see a 20-year manager, because football will not allow it, and fans and social media won't allow it, because even if it's just through luck that you drop your levels for a month, the manager will be out. Now, that can't be right. That cannot be right. And also, it worries me that players now selfishly know that if they don't quite fancy it, they can get together and go, do you know what, in 6 weeks, doesn't matter who this dude is, what he's won in the past, he can be out. And that's got to be the biggest worry within football at the minute.
Good point, Adam.
That's where we are, yeah.
What a good call, Adam.
Sensible footballing chap.
Yeah, Adam, top draw.
Top man,
Robbie,
0500.
I tell you what, I never thought I'd agree with you, Robbie, but I think we're on the same level. I've never thought that in my entire life.
Adam, wish the Baggies all the best. 0500 909 693.